Hello, welcome to the ribbon cutting for the Respite, Rehab, and Reentry Center. We're excited about today and what this means for our community. I'd like for our board chair to say a few words.
Good morning. I'm Shaukat Zachariah, Chairman of the Board of Trustees for the Harris Center for Mental Health and IDD. On behalf of the entire board and the Harris Center, I'd like to welcome you to join us in celebration of the opening of the new Respite, Rehabilitation, Reentry Center for individuals who are homeless and have serious mental health illness. The COVID-19 pandemic has taken its toll on all of us, yet we have learned much from it. The pandemic revealed a particular vulnerability of this population. It is not only the unhealthy conditions on the street that make homeless people a high-risk group for COVID-19, most suffer from underlying chronic health conditions. The scale of this issue makes it difficult for the city, county, local partners to quickly assist and house them. COVID has made the situation even more dire. Social distancing requirements have reduced homeless shelter capacity. These extremely acute individuals have a significant impact on first responders, the hospitals, and the county jail system. We are fortunate to live in a community where our leaders recognize the importance of mental health services and support, particularly for those most in need. Both the City of Houston and Harris County have each invested $5 million for this new center. We thank Harris County, the City of Houston, our law enforcement partners, and the state of Texas and community stakeholders for making this shared vision a reality. Today we celebrate the opening of this new center, not in person, but in a way to reflect our challenging times. Next year we will have an in-person celebration with all of our partners. However, our new facility is operational and ready to serve the community. Thank you.
Welcome. We're glad you're here to be a part of the ribbon cutting for the new Respite, Rehab, and Reentry Center. It is a part of the COVID-19 CARES mental health response for our community, and we're proud that both the city and county have supported this. Without our leadership of our elected officials, this would not have been possible. A little bit about the facility. The COVID-19 Community-Wide Homeless Housing and Mental Health Respite Center, also known as the Respite, Rehab, and Reentry Center, will provide transition services to at-risk individuals, helping them come off our streets and avoid shelters to be able to provide an ongoing therapeutic, treatment-oriented setting for them to receive services. This site is a fully fenced 5-acre location. We've got about 40,000 square feet here in order to fulfill our mission and to provide care to these individuals. We'll hopefully be able to reduce the number of emergency interventions, provide housing, treatment, and ongoing resources to people with critical needs with very complex circumstances.
What a bright and shining example it is today to show what the county, the city, and stakeholders can do together that none of us could ever do alone. This Respite and Rehabilitation Center shows just that, and most importantly, it shows a true commitment to addressing homelessness in our region. The most important part of this project is that it's a paradigm shift in how we address homelessness, and particularly homelessness in people who suffer from mental illnesses. For too long in the county, we've seen folks in a cycle from the jail and hospitals to the streets and back to a state of crisis. And now we're working to tackle that cycle. No longer will we simply be a stop in the path from the jail to the streets, or from the hospital to the streets and back there again. But now we will have this Respite and Rehabilitation Center to make sure that folks have support all throughout until they can find a place of stability, of long-term stable housing, and receive the mental health support they deserve and they need in that situation. In our region, 64% of people living in homelessness have severe mental illness, and over 33% of them have a substance use disorder. And so this is a major need that now together we're addressing. It's just the beginning, but we recognize, the county, the city, and community stakeholders, that we're only as strong as our weakest links. And whether it's during a pandemic or otherwise, that we have to commit to everybody in this community. So no longer will people fall through the cracks. No longer will we just pass the buck when it comes to folks who need long-term support until they get to a place of stability. accountability, and I'm proud to take this significant step that marks a paradigm shift when it comes to addressing homelessness and mental health issues in our region.
As Houston densifies, those who are sleeping on our streets become even more noticeable. In the public health response to COVID-19, it is imperative that we transition at-risk individuals off our streets and out of our shelters. However, a relatively small but extremely vulnerable population of individuals experiencing homelessness suffer from such severe mental health issues that it prevents local partners from quickly assisting and housing these individuals. These extremely acute individuals have the largest impact on our first responders and hospitals, enhancing the risk of COVID-19 exposure and routinely utilizing for non-emergency care vital hospital beds needed for COVID-19 patients. Furthermore, if infected with COVID-19, it is often very challenging to treat these highly acute individuals and prevent communal spread within the homeless community and beyond. That is why I am proud that the City of Houston committed $5 million towards the new COVID-19 Homeless Respite and Rehabilitation Center to fill this need in our community. This facility will provide vital beds and voluntary intensive medical and rehabilitative programs to help stabilize clients so they can be permanently housed through the city and county's COVID-19 homeless housing program. This facility marks the first significant investment by the City of Houston into mental health. Plus, it is also the first significant project between our homeless and mental health systems. I hope that this project will be an example and serve as a catalyst for further systems integration between the justice, public health, and other systems to partner with our homeless response system in meaningful, impactful ways. This project is yet another example of the city and county joining forces to tackle the biggest issues affecting our region. For issues like COVID-19, mental health, and homelessness require that we work together to maximize our impact. It truly took a village to make this facility a reality. I thank State Representative Garnet Coleman, Harris County, and the Houston City Council for backing this project, especially Councilmember Gallegos for his leadership and support. I also thank the steering committee and partner agencies of the Way Home Continuum of Care, including its lead agency, the Coalition for the Homeless. And lastly, Wayne Young, his exceptional team, and the board of our Public Mental Health Authority, the Harris Center. Your commitment to partnerships, new concepts, and standing up vital programs in record time does not go unnoticed and benefits all in the greater Houston area. The public health threats and challenges of COVID-19 require that we move beyond programs that will create only incremental change. We must focus collectively on projects like this needed facility that produce a significant change for all Houston and Harris County residents. This is a big day for everyone. Congratulations.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to this ribbon cutting for the Rehabilitation Center for individuals that have mental illness that need rehab before they go back out into the community. This is a very important facility, which is funded by the city, the county, and the state. The dollars come from the Healthy Community Collaborative legislation and budget item that was put into process starting with an interim study by the County Affairs Committee that I chair in between 2009 and 2011, with a bill in 2011 with $25 million a biennium for different urban areas, including Houston, to fund these types of facilities for the homeless and the mentally ill. $3 million comes from the state for this facility, which will also include units for individuals who need a stay between going into the Harris County Psychiatric Center and other state beds for becoming more self-sufficient to go out into the community and live a robust and good life. Part of this facility is for temporary rehabilitation for that individual with mental illness, so that they can go immediately out into the community with their treatment, after their treatment, and training for the ability to live a standard and good life. The other dollars, as I said before, will go into supported living on that very same campus with the construction of units. This is a very proud moment for me. We've been working on these types of things for the longest time for Harris Center, for Harris County, and for the city of Houston in terms of its work for the homeless. I'm very excited about this day and look forward to the continued construction and building out of this campus for the mentally ill who come out of into temporary housing and into rehabilitation to live their full and robust lives in the community. Thank you very much for being part of this virtual ribbon cutting. And thank you very much to everyone who has worked on this, from HHSC to, of course, Harris Center, the City of Houston, and Harris County. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Harris County Commissioner Adrian Garcia of Precinct 2. Today is a historical day in Harris County. Today's announcement is an example of what great collaboration between Harris County and the city of Houston can look like and the things that we can do. Today, we are leading. We're being innovative, proactive, and when it comes to managing homelessness in our area, we are leading the nation in the model that we're providing today. First, I would like to recognize those who helped to make today's announcement possible, beginning with Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo, my colleagues on Commissioner's Court, Mayor Sylvester Turner, State Representative Garnet Coleman, and the members of the Harris County Homeless Task Force, including Mr. Wayne Young. And I wish to congratulate them on the inauguration of the Homeless Respite and Rehabilitation Center. As a former sheriff, I saw firsthand how the Harris County Jail is the largest provider of mental health treatment. It was painful seeing people who were simply ill and who just needed the right kind of treatment, but instead were stuck behind bars. That was wrong then, and it remains wrong today for this to happen in the greatest county in America. It is also not effective. We can't keep treating mental and addiction issues exclusively in the Harris County Jail, where taxpayers are paying far more than necessary for much needed treatment. We can and must do better, and we are doing better today. As a former sheriff and now county commissioner, I've used my collective experience to make this a priority. I'm proud of my team and all who worked tirelessly on this project, from working on the task force itself to ensuring that we were hearing from the right people and having the right people at the table. Thanks to the task force, we learned that a center like this is critical in order to effectively tackle not only homelessness, but the criminalization of mental health illness. You cannot find this innovative model anywhere else in the country. An intensive care facility where our homeless neighbors suffering from mental illness can have a place to get comprehensive services, support, and safe housing. This is a smart investment, and we should be proud of it. Instead of sentencing people to jail who instead just need help to a better life in and out of jail, today further proclaims that governmental leadership can come together in order to help them re-enter society healthier and more productively. I want to thank my colleagues for their votes to approve the funding, the City of Houston for their investment, and the Harris Center for their support in adopting a fresh approach to treating homelessness. This gives our neighbors needed relief from this issue that too often plagues neighborhood parks, freeway underpasses, area businesses, and not to mention our residential communities themselves. In closing, I again want to recognize the importance of the city-county collaboration. We haven't always been willing to work well together in years past, but with new and bold leadership at the helm today, we knew that it was right and just to make these investments so that we can take the necessary steps towards making the City of Houston and Harris County the best places for all to live, including the people who, to no fault of their own, will utilize this respite center. For our neighbors who want to live in a place where they and their children can feel secure. And for law enforcement who has been too often held exclusively responsible for dealing with a broad societal issue, whether on the streets of our communities or whether in the jail. It's time to be smart about how we deal with homelessness. As I've said about other programs that we've done, county and city government, local officials are closest to the constituents we serve. And this is just one example of that because we have heard the concern and we're responding with action. Again, congratulations to all. And with a year that's had a great deal of difficulty, today we have great reason to celebrate. Again, congratulations to all.
Everyone deserves to have a place to call home. Stable housing is important for people to be able to live healthy lives and have an opportunity to thrive. This is especially critical for people who are experiencing homelessness and suffering from severe mental health issues. Harris County's $5 million investment toward the COVID-19 Homeless Respite and Rehabilitation Center will provide an important and sorely needed resource for people who are vulnerable in our population. Without proper care, support, and stable housing, vulnerable communities often cycle in and out of emergency rooms, hospitals, psychiatric centers, and detoxification programs. These revolving doors result in increased costs to the public and poor health outcomes. Instead of being released back into the streets or to homes where family members are not trained to care for them, people will go to the center. This center will provide services that will help them re-enter society and stop them from recycling into jail and psychiatric centers. People with mental health illnesses will leave the Harris County Jail face a number of hurdles, including connecting to mental health services and getting their medications. The situation is even more worse if a person is homeless. The new Respite and Rehabilitation Center gives the luxury of time to provide immediate, safe, and secure housing and behavioral health services to these individuals, and time for an assessment and the development of long-term plans for behavioral services and more permanent housing. The goal is to help stabilize these people so they can return to their community and keep them out of the criminal justice center. The center will have 20 beds available for individuals with mental illness who are released from the Harris County Jail with no safe place to live. These beds are intended to be short-term in nature and transition quickly as individuals find appropriate living arrangements. Estimated stays about 3 to 5 days. In essence, this much-needed partnership will benefit everyone, including the clients, their families, and the community as a whole.
One of the exciting things about our COVID-19 mental health response facility, in addition to being able to help provide a safe environment where people can social distance and receive appropriate other means of reducing their likelihood of experiencing COVID, is that we're able to provide a wide variety of supports and services on site. We are moving the jail diversion center over. We're excited about that relocation. We think it'll serve our population well. We also are excited about the potential of providing other services. We'll have 20 beds dedicated for jail reentry. So for those individuals who are leaving jail, who are experiencing homelessness, who don't have a safe place to go, they can transition into this facility on a short-term basis while we help them get on their feet and find an appropriate permanent residence for them to be at. During this time, we'll offer therapeutic supports and ongoing services to help facilitate that transition and support other needs that they may have. In addition to that, we'll have hospital to home, which is a 24-bed step-down unit for people who are discharging from an inpatient psychiatric care facility to the community who are experiencing homelessness. For those individuals, there's very limited success if they don't transition into a more stable environment where they can receive intensive supports. And so through this process, we are excited about them being able to transition to our center and stay for many, many, many weeks while we provide ongoing step-down care and supports, hopefully with the target of stabilizing them adequately that they might be able to live in community-based housing when we're done. If not, we're also excited to add that we'll be building 26 apartment units on the premises of our Respite, Rehab, and Reentry Center. And in that space, we'll be able to house some of the most difficult to house individuals, people who might need a little additional support and might not be able to do well in a traditional community setting with a traditional landlord. And so for those really complex needs and complex cases, we'll have some solutions for them, even stepping down from the Respite, Rehab, and Reentry Center. We also will be providing outpatient competency restoration services in this center for those who are experiencing homelessness and have a charge that they need to manage through the criminal justice system, but can't because of their inability to participate in their own defense. And so rather than these individuals remaining in jail simply because they don't have a place to live, they'll be able to come to our center, participate in the restoration process, and ultimately move forward with disposing of their charge and dealing with the process through the criminal justice system.
For Houstonians to really appreciate and understand the benefits of the new Harris County Respite and Rehabilitation Center for the mentally ill, it's important to know what you didn't have before. For years, I've worked in a criminal justice system where parents of the mentally ill, nonviolent offenders would complain about the lack of resources for their children who were not criminals, but who were suffering some kind of mental health crisis. We saw some advancement with the addition of the psychiatric center, but never enough beds in Harris County and nothing for the intermediate person who often is homeless. They've exhausted family resources, they're mentally ill, and they've resorted to living on other people's property, stealing small things, and causing mischief in general. They're also often victimized. When the Ed Emmett Mental Health Diversion Center was created, it was a bipartisan effort at the local and state level to fund a situational housing place for the mentally ill who were caught in the criminal justice system by police responding to business owners and citizens alike to take these people away and do something with them. Well, that something became thousands and thousands of people going through the criminal justice system, trapped in a cycle that didn't make them better and didn't make us safer. So when the Ed Emmett Diversion Center came along and Wayne Young crafted a program to stabilize individuals, saving police officers the time and effort it took to arrest, book, and then prosecute, perhaps testify in court or at competency hearings, by saving them that time, we put more police back on the street faster. And for the offender, the mentally ill individual, they get assessed, stabilized, a bed, a warm shower, connection to existing services, and assessment of their current mental health situation, whether they've had a history of treatment here in Harris County. And Wayne Young's team at the Rehabilitation and Respite Center package this up and give it to offenders, making it available to all of us, a better system for treating the nonviolent mentally ill people in our community. The result is that we are getting safer because of this program. How do we know that? We see the repeat offender rate of these individuals being treated at the new Respite and Rehabilitation Center, formerly the Ed Emmett Mental Health Diversion Center. They're getting better. They're committing fewer crimes. They're not going to jail for other offenses. This is a good sign, and because of it, people all across the state are looking at us. And who's most interested? Our judges, because they've witnessed the tragedy of the mentally ill system being collapsed through lack of care and funding into the criminal justice world, knowing all along that most individuals are not per se criminals. In fact, they're often victims. So we're also safer because we see fewer homeless, mentally ill people being subjected to attacks, robberies, rapes, even murders, because they're in housing, they're getting jobs, and they're staying out of our justice system and off our streets. This is a huge benefit to the 4.7 million residents of Harris County, and especially to the populations most impacted by them. The parents and the families of these mentally ill offenders, the mentally ill offenders themselves, and the businesses and civilians who live in our communities who want the right thing to happen for these individuals, but cannot stand the lack of attention allowing them to commit mischief and to create dangerous areas for others in our neighborhoods. This is a win-win. Congratulations, all of our current stakeholders and partners in Harris County. A special shout out to Wayne Young, a giant in his field and a person who Harris County is lucky to have. And to his team, thanks for doing that hard work out there every day. You're helping those of us in law enforcement get to the real problems, the real criminals out on the street, and find a better way for treating nonviolent, mentally ill people.
So I'd like to thank our elected officials, the dedicated staff who work for them, and the other members of our community and partnering agencies who brought this vision to fruition. Without their support, without their advocacy, without their commitment to this population who are experiencing homelessness and have a serious mental health issue, we would not have been able to bring this facility online. We would not have had the impact that we're going to have in the lives of so many. We're grateful, and so are those who will be served in our facility for years to come.
So let's celebrate the opening of our Respite and Rehabilitation Center. This is the beginning of a long road, but Harris County is in it for the long haul.
Congratulations.
1, 2, 3.